Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ, and I screwed up on the intro.
Yeah, who cares, right? They're more interested in watching us. And it is Monday in the river, huge Monday, the day before the huge, gigantic, earth-shattering, and historic election. So
And it will be a
tomorrow is the
historic
weekend.
election. It will be a historic election because either you're going to reelect Trump, which will be the first, well, it won't be the first president who's jumped a term, or you'll elect the first black Polynesian woman president.
And
So,
also the first brainless ticket ever elected in the history of the world. Although they did last time, but they didn't know it. They pretended Joe had a brain, but he didn't. So
right.
we found out now that Joe doesn't have a brain. And now we've proven after 4 years of this administration, we don't really have a president. We have somebody running the government from the shadows because Biden has just demonstrated clearly from day one, but it's really been prevalent now. You know, you watch him now. They got to lock him up. His own party's got to lock him up. They're looking to keep him off the air. He's eating babies' feet. He's biting them on the thighs. I mean, that's creepy at best and weird. I mean, he's dangerous. And after he made that comment that they all tried to lie about what he meant by it, now he went out and said that all the people who are supporting Trump need a slap on the ass. So he's becoming. I mean, he's becoming so unglued now. I mean, he belongs. I mean, this is the president, supposedly the president of the United States. Are you shitting me? If he's running a country, you know, I mean, as bad as it is, it would be worse because I mean, he doesn't know which way is up. This is totally out of control. And we got a presidential candidate who just 6 months ago was going to be taken off the ticket because she had the lowest rating as a VP in the history of the United States. And these phonies and propaganda ministers want somebody in there with no brain. They got the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. I'm surprised they didn't have Ray Milland exhumed his body, exhumed, and have him on the stage at the Democratic National Convention singing "If I Only Had a Brain" from the Wizard of Oz.
And remember, she was not elected by the people.
Right. That's right.
She was not elected as the presidential nominee by the people. She was appointed by the powers that be. Well, today's our special election show, and we have a guest who wants to speak on some of the questions. So let's welcome our guest, Jeffrey Gaudreau. Hello, Jeff.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
How are
morning.
you today?
And he's here. He was here early today. He didn't have he learned his lesson the last time. He's on the program. He's with the program.
Yeah, well, I'm not great with technology sometimes, but it happens. So.
And he's got his coffee. He's all set.
I'm always all set. You got to. Because last week I was on late and I felt like crap last week. So now I'm pumped up. I'm ready. It's like Christmas tomorrow. You wake up and instead of opening up gifts, you're gonna go out and vote. So I'm excited.
Well, I mean, when you think about the fact that 1.4 some odd million Massachusetts residents have voted already in the preliminary, in the early elections and in the mail-in ballots, you have to think about it. I don't know if you read the Weekend Flush, but on the Weekend Flush, I turned around and I said, there's a lot of questions now on Fall River elections because our elections commissioner has been bought and paid for. And how secure is that going to be for our elections now? I don't know. I can't even imagine. But this is what the mayor wanted, and this is what the city council wanted to do. They wanted
that's what all politicians want. They want control.
Right.
Indeed.
But since we started it, let's hit our last question. We've covered them all. Today is 5, and then we can go back and review the other ones if everybody wants. But this is minimum wage for tipped workers, and I'll read it. A yes vote would increase the minimum wage, and an employer must pay tipped workers to the full state minimum implemented over 5 years, at which point the employers could pool all tips and distribute, the employers could tip and distribute them to all non-management workers. No vote would make no change, and it has no, fundamentally, it says it has no fiscal consequences to the Commonwealth because it generally, they do not employ tipped workers. However, it says it's difficult to project the impact because of the lack of reliability and because employees will earn more. The state would get more taxes from the withholding. So that's all they're interested in. And then the people in favor of it say, instead of being paid the current $675, they would get the full minimum. It's fair to employers. Massachusetts small businesses are already paying some. It's fair to consumers, but then again says the question is funded by a radical group from California. Tipped employees have made it abundantly clear that the way they earn money does not need to be changed. State and federal law guaranteed them the 15-hour, with many earning 40 and at least 20. It showed that 88% of the tip pools are against this. So the people who actually do the work are not in favor of this because if they work at good restaurants, they get good tips. Of course, the higher end restaurants, you get even more tips. But this is about also jobs. I mean, it's in here. The law is very lengthy and stuff. But remember, the Chamber of Commerce is already whining about taxes, and small restaurants and businesses run at a very low margin. And if they have to pay minimum wage, they're going to lay people off probably. Yep. I think this guy also went on to say like 20% of the workers in some of these states where they implemented this lost their jobs, and some restaurants had to close. People, I don't know what these people, they're not living in the real world. People can barely afford to go out to eat now with the economy that these clowns have created in this country. I don't know if you guys saw that very, very powerful video. It was run. It was on TikTok, I guess. Some woman was talking to the celebrities that are talking about, vote for Kamala because, it's the right thing to do, but they're not talking about her life. She said her husband's working 2 jobs. She said she can't get her kids Christmas presents. They've never used credit cards before, and they're virtually maxed out. They can't, and there are a lot of people in this country obviously can't afford their rents, can't afford credit card maxing, and credit card uses at an all-time high. The country for the average person is in the tank. Over 75% of the people say the country's going in the wrong direction. How this could be even close is beyond human comprehension, because the only people that want this are the people that get shit for nothing and the rich people. Everybody in between, which comprises the majority of people in this country, are not happy with what we're doing today. So this is another example of that. They want to impose this stuff on people, and they don't look at the ramifications for the regular people, not big businesses. Even McDonald's and the big chains laid off people. As soon as their overhead goes up, they're gone. McDonald's now has got a lot of, they've cut employees all over the country. So is all the other chain restaurants. So they don't care about the average working people. So with that, guys, I'll turn it back to you, because it really pisses me off when I see stuff like this.
Well, Jeff, what's your opinion?
Yeah, Chip, you brought up good points that even I'm pissed off on for so many reasons, because our economy isn't doing too great. People think that the reason why that this question came on is because these people are from California, and look what's going on in California. They want $20, an hour. They want everything given for you for free, but yet, as you said, rents your rents are going up, food costs, gas, everything's going on, and they're already shutting down. As you said, next year they're shutting down 140 Wendy's, Denny's, all these, for the most part, big franchises, but there are local small mom and pops that's been shutting down because of people can't find work. They can't find people. So I've been going around lately on our local area, Nick's, Marcu's, just get sandwiches. Everything's up. But yeah, I asked them about the questions. They didn't even knew about these questions, and it's going to affect them. So
Well, what's interesting is like Nick's doesn't work on tips. I mean, they accept tips, but they're paid, I believe, minimum wage. It's the same but at Scotty's, I think it's different. At Marcu, that's a family business, so I don't know how many outside people they have working there. And with Marcu's now being sold at the end of the year, we don't know what's going to be there.
Meet some guy. Meet some. Marcu's has been closed for years.
I mean, excuse me.
I meant to say
Meet some.
Meet some. Sorry, but there was another. I meant to say another deli.
And say you guys are full of shit.
Hey, look. The main concern is everyone's going to be having issues. I've been seeing a lot of local people I've been following are voting no on it. Okay, and I've seen a lot of strong people going to vote no on this question because it's still confusion to some, but it's going to affect everyone. Whether or not if they're a franchise or a small business, it's going to affect people regardless. And I want people, look, myself and others, we want to get a good pay raise, but not when it's going to affect others that we're already going. Even Taco Bell, it's shutting down, is having issues. It reminds me of Demolition Man when the franchises are gone and it's only Taco Bell left. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch it because it's exactly the same thing what we're dealing with in this country.
Yeah. Well, you're right, Jeff. And, the thing is that people don't understand. This isn't just a little narrow thing about you give them a pay raise and it's great. It affects so many other things. There's a word that somebody will have to look up now. I know that because they don't know it. It's called synergy. That means that the sum of the parts are greater than just 1 and 1 is 2. It's like 1 and 1 is 5 because you put certain things together. But when you increase the minimum wage, you also affect the business, the bottom line of the stores, and it affects disproportionately the cities like Fall River, and it hurts small business, which is the backbone of communities like this, because some of these places have to close their doors. Restaurants would have to raise their prices. Then people can't afford to go out to eat now. They're going to go out to eat less. There's a whole bunch of dynamics involved in this stuff. And like you said, these people, you talk to them, they don't even know about the question because they're too busy trying to scratch out a living. It's like Kamala saying, well, I'm going to stop this price gouging in the food. They work on one of the lowest profit margins around. It's like less than 3%. They're working on a 3% profit. They know nothing. All they care about is big money. They don't care about this stuff. And it's not like these things affect so many other aspects of our daily life, especially in communities like Fall River. Oh, you go to Hollywood, nobody gives a shit. They
Of
don't
course
care
not.
what they
They're,
right.
they're the richest people. They can
They don't
afford a
care, and that's
T-bone
the
steak.
problem. The people that talk this way are all rich and nauseous. They don't care about this stuff. Yeah, it's like, oh, give everybody $20 an hour. Well, you know something? There's an old saying: a half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. And you know something? If you're going to raise the wage to $20 an hour and then lose 50% of your workforce, is that really a good thing? I don't think so. At least in my
No.
opinion.
Well, let's look at this because I've seen not to change. It's not really changing the subject, but some of these franchise wants to cut people off and put machines.
Yeah.
Forget about the illegal immigrants. Now they want to go for robots doing your burgers.
Yeah.
It's the truth. I've seen it. They want this is supposed to be the better for the future, but yeah, it's going to affect the people in this country. So we're doomed to we doomed if we don't do anything sooner. So I'm just it's sad because I want people to make a living, to live, and not to be all scared because it's scare tactic, and I don't want that.
You know, I was on the phone today with a local fast food restaurant, recognized by some clown, and I spoke to them about their delayed service times, and they said, "Well, we're switching our services over now to a more automated system, which means fewer employees if
Wow.
it's automated."
Wow.
Okay. And she says, we're still having some bugs that we're working out, but we are switching over to an automated system. I said, is that why you only have 3 people working behind the counter? Oh, no, we always have more than that. I said, 1 manager. I said, and 3 people, 1 at the front register, 1 at the drive-through, and 1 in the back board. I said, 3 people. I said, I've seen it. Oh, that's only in the morning. I said, on a Sunday morning, that's busy. So they didn't want to hear it. They never wanted to.
Well, I'm a hard no on question 5.
Yeah,
same here.
Leave it the way it is.
Voted,
So
and I voted no.
you guys everybody can do what they want. Read the questions. We've gone over them. We're not afraid that we're not bashful to kind of say where we stand. We're pretty.
No, because it's a fact.
Discuss them. So it's just facts, and that's the key. The key is, but what disturbs me is something Jeff brought up about they're trying to scare people. This is disturbing. You know, if you want to be, if you're looking for a plumbing job, you tell people about what you work, and you get people who you work for to say this guy can fix your plumbing. If you're a contractor, you show pictures of some of the work you've done, but the Democrats want to lie and threaten everybody. Oh, Trump's gonna nationwide ban on abortion. That's horseshit because the Supreme Court already turned it back to the states.
That's right.
And if he attempted to do that, they'd go to the Supreme Court immediately and he'd be overruled. They'd throw the damn thing out. He couldn't do that. He doesn't want to do that. They're talking about, now they got Liz Cheney. One person actually said that he said he was going to put her in front of a firing squad.
And that's not what he said.
No, that's not what he said.
Right. Exactly.
Granted, listen, let's make this clear. Trump at least stays with what he said. He's not like the Democrats who then try to change history like they did with what Biden said, and they did change it. And they even said, look, the people who have to put it into the archive said, this is unethical to change something because it's, but what he said was that Liz Cheney, if she had 9 rifles pointed at it, he shouldn't have used 9 rifles. He should have simply said, but hey, it's Trump. He likes he's not the most articulate guy in the world. He's funny, but he says what he feels. But what he should have said was, if they ever put her in uniform and were going to send her into a war zone, she would run to Canada, just like her father did during the Vietnam War.
And her father was a warmonger too. And
he got 5 deferments during Vietnam. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 deferments. never put a uniform on, yet made trillions of dollars with Halliburton and loved to send everybody else's sons to war. So what he was saying was these people would have joined some people that we know that ran to Canada if they ever got, or like Tim Waltz when he got out of the National Guard, as soon as they were going to might be deployed to a war zone. What he said was very simply that these, an old adage, it's going to be changed now and updated for the wokeness. The old adage used to be, yeah.
And Stop and Shop is having issues too.
And that's a Dutch company, I think now.
Yes, it is.
A Dutch company. It's not even an American company. But what he was saying was, the old saying used to be, rich old men start wars, poor young men fight and die in them. And Veterans Day is coming up, and we got to remember that. But now it's rich people, period, and elitists start wars, and poor young men go fight in them. And it reminded me, Jeff mentioned the movie. Did you guys, I think everybody saw Gladiator. That was a big movie. It was funny because after he made that comment and everybody was bitching, I happened to be channel surfing, and Gladiator was on Showtime. So I just clicked on it for a second, and it came to the part where all those people who we had been trained to become gladiators because they were slaves fundamentally, and they were going to have to go in the arena and possibly die. So they showed them walking, and of course Russell Crowe's he's the hero and everything else. He was a warrior for Rome and everything. And they're walking into the gladiators arena. And if you didn't see it the last time, pay attention. And on the way in, there was a guy that pissed himself. They showed him pissing himself walking into the Coliseum because he was scared shitless. And he was one of the first ones to die because he walked out of there and he just stood there like a frozen popsicle and got killed. There are people like, and that's Cheney, her and her father both would have froze they would have ran away. They wouldn't have put on a uniform. Nobody wants to go get shot at. But Americans have done that. That's why veterans deserve that respect. And these freaking bums who ducked the draft like her father, and that scumbag warmonger who wants to have a war everywhere in the world so she can make money. Trump was right. He wasn't articulate about it, but he was right. It's the people that never serve. They don't want to draft anymore. And I remember at one period during Vietnam, they did a study. They said there was exactly one person that was related to a congressman, a senator, that was actually in the military anywhere near a war zone. Everybody else was gone. The ferments, college, every other reason. Air National Guard, like Bush was. And in those days, they didn't deploy the National Guard to combat zones. They stayed in the United States. It was harder during the Vietnam War to get into the National Guard than it was to get into Harvard. Because that's where people went that didn't want to go.
So they went to hideout.
Or Canada, like some people that became politicians in Fall River went to. But this is my point. They're going to crucify, going to twist it around like, oh, look, he wants to assassinate a firing squad. That's not what he said. He was saying she's a coward. She's a warmonger. And that's exactly what she is. She's a phony, like they all are. A phony who should be in jail for suppressing evidence during the January 6th class. They knowingly destroyed evidence that would exonerate it. Most of those people that are sitting in jail now. This is the guy that's always condemning everybody else. So with that rant, I'm pissed off because when they start talking about shit like this, because I'll tell you what, there's nobody that pissed me off more than Dick Cheney, that draft dodging son of a bitch. Back to you.
I'm just so sick and tired of hearing January 6th all the time. I was watching an interview at News Nation, which I watch now more than CNN. But I'm just so sick of hearing January 6th all the freaking time in the past 4 years, but yet nobody wants to condemn the issues back in 2020 with Black Lives Matter and Antifa destroying public business, especially the Black community. They shut everyone down and they burnt everything up. Oh, that's peaceful. Don't worry about it. It's kumbaya. Oh, it's all good. But yet nobody want to condemn them. Nobody. And just remember, she bailed out those protesters. Okay, it's a fact. She put up a bail. She did a GoFundMe or whatever, and she let those people out. And I'm so tired of it. I'm not a Republican or Democrat, but I know who I'm going to be voting for. I don't have to glorify it because that's just me.
Yeah. No, hey,
I'm sick of it.
And that's your right. But like you said, Linda just posted that was a good post. How they just took something, not only changed what he said, but they took it totally out of context. They applied something. He was talking about one issue about something, and they twisted it into something else. And this is what they do. They don't run on anything. You know why? They can't. Can they run on how well they did with keeping gas prices down? No. Can they run on how much they kept, inflation down? No, they can't. Can they run on how they close the border? No, they can't. So like you said, Jeff, all they're trying to do is deflect the attention to, Taylor Swift said to vote for him. Oh, this movie star said vote for him. Oh, by the way, he's gonna put everybody in jail. We're gonna have death squads running around, and he's gonna kill everybody and make everybody get, that tries to get an abortion. He's gonna put them in jail. I mean, they're lunatics. These people are so, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know how. Like I said, I don't know how nearly 80% of the people think this country is going in the wrong direction, that this election can be even close, except the fact that they cheat. They've already found voting machines in Kentucky where if you press Trump, it checked Kamala. So the same machines that did it in the last election.
And I don't want to hear any. And I've heard this over on WRCR when certain people wanted to say it's Republicans, Trump supporters did that. You don't have any facts on that, people. Okay, and I condone that. But if you're a Trump supporter or Kamala supporter or any, you do things like that. That we have a big problem with that. I have a problem with that because I want a fair and equal election votes for tomorrow night.
Jeff, you want to clarify that? You actually told me that some moron said that a Republican changed the machine so they could vote for the Democrat. You know how much sense that makes? I mean,
I'm saying no. Yeah, no, I'm saying that
ballots for 4 years. The woman in Connecticut that worked for the mayor, they had her on video, not in one election, but 2 or 3 elections, stuffing the ballot boxes. They've got a company that sent out 100,000 ballots, and they're based in Arizona, that were fraudulent ballots for the Democrats. We saw, every single instance. You got the Secretary of State of Nevada who tried to take Trump off the ballot. Then she sent out ballots to people she knew were not eligible to vote, who she knew was going to vote for Kamala Harris. And now they've exposed she should be in jail. She's the Secretary of State. Now they exposed she gave the voting code, the codes to the machines, to the Democrats, so they could tamper with the machines. I mean, listen, the Democrats love to do what they call in psychology project. They project their dishonesty on everybody else. The Republicans try to do things, but nobody does it to the extent to them. Let me tell you something. The Democrats have 2 common traits amongst them all. They're pathological liars, and they are pathologically dishonest.
I agree with the dishonest very much.
So that's the way it is. But for them to accuse people of tampering with shit, after look at Hillary, 10,000 emails she destroyed, bleach bits, hammers, bleach bits, no prosecution. I mean, these people, you could go on. Look, we could do 6 months of shows on crap that they've pulled that was illegal. And like just on January 6th, you could do nearly a year with everything that's suppressed. They still haven't gotten. They identified the guy who was encouraging those people to go in there on January 6th. And we know he was a government operative. They also exposed that a lot of these people that were leading them into the building were FBI people.
Yeah, well,
but they suppressed all that evidence, and there are people in jail today because the Democrats, like I said, are dishonest scumbag liars.
Well, an individual who lives in Massachusetts, Fall River or Somerset, whatever, but he was found guilty only 2 of the several charges, and the guy Mike, who used to own a business here in Fall River, and he had every right to protest, but they wanted to accuse him that he went into the building. He never went inside the building. He only he had a weapon on him. And now I don't know if he's going to go to jail or something, but when you have problem with something like this, protesting peacefully, we can all agree on that. But I think it does get a little too extreme when you do see stuff like that. But again, both sides has issues with that. We've seen it we've seen it out there. And whatever happens this election, come January, after November, people are gonna be flipping out, and I guarantee you, they're going to protest and they're going to cause problems.
No matter
You're
which
never going to
side
be
wins.
satisfied on the re-election results.
Yeah, no matter which side wins, both sides have already got their lawyers lined up, ready to go tomorrow. They're ready. They're going to move forward tomorrow, and that's okay. That's their right. They can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't wreck the world. Don't wreck the world.
Right. The
Jeff is right. Look at January 6th. They lied. They talked about weapons. Not one person that was in a January 6th riot had a weapon. The only person with a weapon was the Capitol policeman who shot an unarmed woman who was a veteran that weighed like 105 pounds. And he had already been discharged his weapon and been censured for that. He was hiding behind the wall and shot her. They had it on video. And then they said 5 people were killed. One guy was bludgeoned with a fire extinguisher. They made up all kinds of lies. And as the Democrats always do, they have never, ever revised that. They have never corrected it. They not only didn't correct it, they suppressed all kinds of evidence that would have exonerated. Look, did what they do, Jeff's right. Did what they do, was it wrong? Yeah. Yeah, you're not supposed to break into a place, although that is their house. It's the government's. They should have been able to walk into that building and protest. Didn't the Massachusetts Supreme Court just tell us you can walk into the chamber and you'd say anything you want because they're politicians? That is our house. It's not their house, it's our house. But if they would have done it peacefully, but they want, the Democrats were looking to make this into an issue. Remember, the mayor of D.C. refused National Guard.
Yes, that's
Muriel Bowser said, no, I don't want
to bring that up.
Nancy Pelosi has admitted she knew it was coming.
Yeah,
and she didn't seek out any help. They baited people. They
were ready to get going, but they were told no.
Yeah,
no.
So these people are diabolical, and they'll do anything for power. They're not running on a record. And the scary part about it is we have probably the most incompetent, and I thought that I would never again see a ticket as bad as Biden and Harris. But now you've got Harris and Waltz. That may be the 2 biggest boneheads I've ever seen. And you want them to run a country. It's scary.
I'll say this. People were complaining that Trump had his people, had his guards pepper sprayed and all that to so-called peaceful protesters back in 2020, so we could put a Bible next to the church, which the church, I believe that was one of the churches that was burned by the protesters. Yeah. But it's like, oh, they can do that, but Republican supporters can't do this. Who the hell are you to dictate who's right and who's wrong on this? Because this is supposed to be oh my God, the democracy. It's the end of the world. It's like, relax. The sky is not falling, people. I said this on WSAR. Whether or not Trump gets in, it's not going to be the end of the world. You're going to be fine the next day. Because you know something? I voted, again, I'm independent. I years ago, I voted for Hillary. I didn't, that was my decision. I was upset. I was one of those wokies that next day I couldn't sleep the next day. But then after a few years, I've seen a lot of hateful people based on who you support. I don't want to be like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick of, I don't want to be like that. I want to who I want to vote for and not be shamed or be called a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. And if you're lucky, I don't punch you in the face if you ever say that to my face, because I'll knock you down. I don't care.
Well, Jeffrey, let me tell you something. The problem you have is that you have a functional brain and you have a memory. You see, the Democrats have what I call political amnesia. Like you said, they'll never forget January 6th. They'll blow it all out of proportion. You had some idiot with horns, but they've got amnesia about what happened when Antifa actually killed people. They burned cities to the ground.
Yes.
Caught billions of dollars worth of damage, and Kamala was getting bail money for them. But they never mentioned those 40 different riots. But
when Joe Biden got in 4 years ago, you still saw protesters. I don't want you. They're just anti-Americans. They don't want respectful leaderships in this country. They don't care if you're Republicans or Democrats. They want to burn the system down.
Yeah. Well, what they should do is
make the problems that we need to take care of.
If I hit the mega bucks, besides getting all the lawyers to sue everybody, what I would have made for this election would have been a commercial. And you know what that commercial would have been? Remember that CNN reporter? I think it was CNN or MSNBC, but it was one of those proper. When he was standing in front of with a camera with a city burning down behind them.
Yeah, that was CNN.
Well, this is a mostly peaceful demonstration. That's what they should have said. And then under that, the caption would have been, if you're looking for bullshit, tune into the Democrats. Because this is how bad they are. This is how blatant they are. The guy's standing in front of a city that's burning to the ground and telling you that this is mostly a peaceful demonstration. So that it says it all.
Well, while you were talking, I received not one, but two separate text messages. The first one says 7 times the match. Save Pennsylvania. Taylor Swift and Kamala stunner. Trump's fuming. You have to see this. And they sent a link to a video for the Democratic turnout. And then I got, if Kamala wins Pennsylvania, she wins the whole damn thing. So we're 7 timesing gifts to turnout pack to boost the turnout in Pennsylvania. I'm not in Pennsylvania.
I'm not either.
Right. Why am I getting these texts?
I don't know. I feel it, but you know, I'll get one. I'm pissed off. I'm not getting one about Pennsylvania. I might get it later, but I got one from Michigan again. Michigan loves me. I've been getting them for 2 months. I've been invited to a watch party in Detroit after the election. So it's like, I don't know, and he also said I had a ballot. I haven't turned my ballot in yet. Where is it? So I don't know. I think they got it, and they're going to write my name on it in Michigan. But I don't live in Michigan. But this is what they're doing. You're getting it. You're getting invitations to stuff in Pennsylvania. I got about 15 texts in the last month from the Democratic Party of Michigan.
What was interesting was yesterday I received a text message to invite me by name to the J.D. Vance time in New Hampshire. I almost took him up on it just to go see it. But I said, I don't want to drive to New Hampshire.
I've only got 3 text messages 2 were for Biden. I'm sorry, for Kamala and Trump, and I got the to vote no on question 2. So I didn't read it. I mean, I didn't click it because I don't trust those machines nowadays.
Yeah, no, question
you
2.
got to be careful. You got
Yeah,
to be careful with that
question,
stuff.
question 2 is about the MCAS, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was telling you not to vote.
I voted yes on that because I don't believe that any student should be taught to the test, because when they come out of school, they're illiterate. And we graduate more functional illiterates than anything else. Just because they can take the test doesn't mean they're going to perform better after high school. And there are some people which are just better test takers than others.
Yeah.
It doesn't equate to them being stupid or being smart. It equates to the fact that they can handle a test better than someone else.
Yeah.
So
it's a deflection. It's a deflection. The problem we have is not with the tests, it's with the system. The system is not educating our children, because the system, rather than do what I think, actually, I think even Eddie Costa, our friend Eddie, who has different political views, but I respect him, was talking about trying to get these kids to try to strive for excellence, as did Victor David Hanson, who's a brilliant guy. What they do is lower the standards all the time. We saw what happened in Baltimore. The problem is the system. The system has failed because the Democrats love to just, if it gets in the way, eliminate it. So forget about the testing, graduate people. We spend more on education than any other country, more than we ever had, and we're doing a horrible job. This is why most people now are saying that the public education system should be scrapped. It should be, you should have a choice. People should be able to send their kids to other types, schools and have their freedom of choice, because the system is not working. And it is not. If they told me on that question, I'm going to cancel your vote out, CJ, I'm voting no, because I believe that they didn't show me a definitive way that they're going to prove that these kids can actually read and write. I'm very pro education. I want kids that go to school to be educated, and I don't want them to lower it from 70 to 60 to 50 for passing grades. I don't want to have them dumb everybody down and say, well, see, they made the cut. You can't lower the bar. We've got to have, and I don't believe they're capable of doing that. And this is just another government way to cover their ass and say, we can't educate them well enough to pass this test. We'll give them another test. And later on, if they can't pass the test we're giving them, then we'll change them. I don't trust the system or the people who are running the system.
When I went to school, Chip, and you went to school, we had standardized tests.
Yep.
Okay. They weren't connected to our graduation.
That's right.
They were connected to our educational level and what we needed. And they guided what the teachers taught. By doing the MCAS, and I understand your vote, and you have your vote is your right, but with the MCAS, the teachers can't teach what the child needs. The teacher must teach what the test requires.
Yeah, but they won't do it anyway, CJ. They're not doing it. There are states that don't have MCAS, and they're graduating people at reading at 3rd grade level, 4th grade level. I mean, that's the whole problem here. These people are not teaching the kids. They're in half of the schools in the country, they're teaching woke subjects and other stuff, and CRT and other things like this. This is the whole problem. You can't be doing this. We've lost sight of the fact that the prime reason that they created a system was to educate. Look, when I was in school, when I went to Davis, which was like blackboard jungle when I went there, they were hanging a principal out the window. There were,
I wonder who that was.
It wasn't me. Actually, the first time, I was young when I went to Davis, because younger than the rest of the class, because I started school before I was 5, because in those days, if you were going to be 5 during the year, you started, and my birthday's in December, as you know. So I was still 4 years old, and they put me in 1st grade. They didn't put me in kindergarten. So I started in the first grade at 4. Everybody else was 5 and 6. But the first day I went to Davis, I was younger than everybody else too, because I went to Davis Grammar. The first day of school, I got stabbed. On the way after school, I got stabbed, and I can tell you, I can tell you, there was a Chinese restaurant in Flint, not Mark Hughes, the other one up the street. They had 2 sons. I got into a fight with the youngest son in the schoolyard, and because in the Flint, that's all we ever did was fight. I got into a fight with the younger kid, and then after school, his older brother, who was in the 8th grade, stabbed me in the back when we were walking out of the school. My friends jumped on him and beat him up and stuff. But this is the stuff we did. But in Davis school, well, like I said, it was like blackboard jungle. But the thing is, we still got educated because I took a test in the 7th grade, and it wasn't a test of anything, but it showed where you were so they could judge you. It was your reading comprehension test. And they said when you got the they did it in Baltimore, and it backfired on them. But when we took that reading test, it said you're in the 7th grade, you're reading at an 8th grade level, a high school level, college level, you're reading at a 3rd grade level. Then when you get metrics like that, you can then begin to educate the people. The problem is, if you have a system like that, it still gets down to the people in the system educating the children. And I think that's been lost. The teachers are not given the latitude. It's all about administrators and giving out jobs, and it's about telling the teachers what to teach. Teachers should be allowed to teach, and they should be allowed to teach the subjects that are necessary. The CRT and stuff. Listen, it's pretty obvious now. I don't trust the system. I respect good teachers. They're invaluable, but I don't believe teachers can teach they want to teach anymore, because you can't do anything. You can't drag us into the cloakroom like we did before and break pointers over our heads like we did, because we had corporal punishment when we went to school. So, I cost the city a lot of money with pointers, because they broke a lot of pointers over me when I was in Aldrich and Davis. So, but I mean, the whole thing is, you can't. It's proven not only in Fall River, like I'm not picking on, all over the country. There are places, amazingly enough, that make Fall River look good. I mean, if you compare Fall River with Baltimore, or Detroit or someplace like that, I mean, this is like Harvard down here. And we're not doing that great. The system is broken. No. The system is broken.
You're right.
The system is broken.
Yeah, you're right. The system is broken. Jeff, do you have any last comments?
Tomorrow is very important. I don't want to use the word democracy. I want to use the word think before you vote. Why should you vote for some certain people that will benefit you? We're dealing with crisis with the legals coming to our country. Your food cost is going up. Your living situations has gone up. What can we do? You want to stick with the same people, stick with the same Democrat parties, or you want to go back to maybe have someone like Trump to go on to do better, if that? Look, I'm not happy with what we see, and we need better government. We need better leadership after this election is done for the next 4 years, hopefully. We need more independent leadership. Seriously. I want people to make a living. I want people to work. I don't want people getting free handouts. We're dealing with enough crises here in Massachusetts. So I don't think we're going to get rid of Elizabeth Warren, unfortunately, but I just want to see better. We can believe. We can have faith. I hope so. But just go out and vote. Voting is the most important thing. As we say, we can all agree, it is very important. But understand this. It's not the end of the world that you're not happy for what we see. Then I'm not going to change the subject real quick, but it seems like we need more term limits than age, because Wayne Regal wants to bring up age limits. If you can be there for so long, if you're not doing well, you need to go. But yet we need better leadership in this country.
I'm a
So
firm believer in term limits now. A firm
Do
believer
I
in
get a
term limits.
last word too? Okay.
Yes, you
Yes.
do. I'm giving
My
it
last
now.
word is we have two candidates running, both of whom have been in office. So it's not a theoretical. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? So I'm telling you what we always did on our first show. We told you two things: follow the money, and you're going to follow your money going right out of your wallet. And the second was do your homework. And the thing is, do your homework. Were you better off 4 years ago than you are today? And don't vote because you like somebody. Vote like you would to take your car. If you're going to bring your car in to be repaired, and somebody tells you that guy's the worst mechanic in the world, he'll take him 100 years to fix your car, and this other guy's an asshole, but he can fix your car. He's a great mechanic. Vote with your brain, not with your emotion. Remember what Adolf Hitler said. I use emotion for the masses. He wants to get people stirred up, and that's what the Democrats are trying to do. And I use logic for the few. So my thing is, vote with your head, be logical, think about who will make your life better.
No question about it. I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And make sure you get out and vote tomorrow. Have a great day. Remember, vote. Thanks for watching.